YouTube. What's up, baby? We back in this thing again for another review. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and today we're going to be talking about Stranger Things Season 4, Episode 7, entitled The Massacre at Hawkins' Lab. Alright? Now, this is the last episode until we get a Volume 1, Season 1, Volume 1. We have Season 2. I'm sorry. This is the last episode of Season 4, Volume 1. Now, Season 4, Volume 2 will pick up in July 1st, and that'll be 2 episodes long. So, for right now, this is it for about a month, you know what I'm saying? But if you've been to the channel before, you already know what we do. We started off with the premise, 3 favorite scenes, the grade, and then we on to the next one, right? So, again, Stranger Things Season 4, Episode 7, entitled The Massacre at Hawkins' Lab. So on this one, we pick up with Steve, and he's still getting attacked by the bat creatures. Nancy, Robin, and Eddie end up arriving like a couple seconds after him, and they help him, to fight off the bat creatures. After fighting the bat creatures, they head to these wood areas. This wood area, I think it's like just to get out of the little danger zone, like to get somewhere where they can kind of hide. So it's for safety per se. And then after that, we go to Sullivan, and he gets the agent. The agent's name is Wallace. He gets him to talk about Elle, and then the information that they've been needing. So now they got it. Then we actually pick up with Elle trying to use her powers, but she still can't do it just yet. And this is a bad situation because you got Vecna on one side, and then you also got a government on the other side trying to get her. So she really needs to learn how to use her powers again, so that way she can protect herself and protect everybody else. Dr. Martin ends up talking to Elle about her powers, and just the significance of getting it back, and just things like that. And then after that, we see Elle, and she goes back into her memories. And then from there, we jump to the cops interrogating Dustin and Lucas and Max about why they were there in the forest and stuff like that, and do they know where Nancy and Steve and Robin and Eddie, do they know their whereabouts? And they just pretty much lied to them, that they got to do it, and then we go back to Steve, and we see that he isn't doing too well because of him. The bat bites on each side of his torso. They're making him lose a lot of blood. So Nancy ends up tying his thing around his waist, and then he's able to function a little bit better. But still, it's a problem because he is losing blood. He needs to go to the doctor. And then we see as they, walk in the upside down, they have to watch out for these, I guess they're like veins, bro. You feel me? Like the little tentacle things. They got to watch out for it because if they step on it, it's like they're all connected. The veins or the tentacles are connected to Vecna, are connected to the bats, whatever it may be. So if they step on it, or if a bat actually sees them, it'll notify Vecna that, hey, we got some intruders, you know what I'm saying? So they got to be real careful as they walk around in the upside down. But of course, they're gonna walk around and be careful anyways, but still. And then we go back. Steve and the crew, they end up making this plan to go look for guns because they figure they're going to be upside down. They don't know how long they're going to be upside down. There's, monsters here for sure. They might as well have some type of protection. So they figure since the upside down is the exact copy of, the real world, that if they had guns somewhere, it would be also guns there. You know what I'm saying? So they try to make this plan to go get some guns. And they end up going to Nancy's house to look for some guns that she actually has. So that's the plan right there. And then we go to Jim and Antonov, and they talk about what's going to happen. As far as like the Demogorgon and attacking, and the plan to get out of there and stuff like that, in order to survive and everything like that. Then we go to Murray, Joyce, and Yuri, and they've arrived at the prison. So now, they're about to take action, and he's in handcuffs. Murray is posing as Yuri, and then Joyce is in handcuffs as well. So, now the plan is going to begin. We'll see if it works. Then we go back to Elle and her memories, and we see that number 2, he gets disciplined for hurting Elle, and it was kind of brutal. Well, not brutal, but it was just kind of like crazy to see how the extent that he went, that Papa, Dr. Martin, went to in order to discipline number 2 for hurting Elle. And then we go back to Steve and the crew, and Steve and Eddie have this talk, mainly about Dustin. It was a cool little talk, and also about, how Eddie sees Nancy looking at Steve, and it's like, if you got any love for her, bro, you better go get her right now, So they arrive at Nancy's house, to get the guns. Dustin tries to get in, and then we go back to Dustin. Dustin tries to get in contact with Steve, but he can't. But also Dustin ends up finding a clue about Vecna's gates that he's been opening. You know what I'm saying? We find out that, where each person has been killed by Vecna, there's actually an opening to the upside down. So it's a chance that, they can go battle Vecna now, So we go back down to the upside down, and Nancy's looking for guns, but she can't find them. And then we see Steve, in the house with them, with Eddie and Robin and Nancy, and he hears Dustin's voice from the other dimension. And then we find out also that there's no guns there, and the reason why is because the time in the upside down, like, as far like it's still in the past. Everything is not upgraded to, like, how it is now in the present time. It's some, like, everything is still in the past. Like, I think it's like, I don't know, it just hasn't changed. So of course the guns aren't there. And then we see Eddie and the crew, they try to contact Dustin because, like I said, Steve heard Dustin's voice, and although they're in different dimensions, So what ends up happening is, um, Eddie and everybody, they try to use lights to send a message to Dustin. Um, and then from there we go back to Mary, and he talks to the Russian general as Yuri, and they end up seeing Jim. Um, and then we see Jim with Antonov and other men, and they're about to release a Demigorgon on them, so they're getting ready to fight. And then from there we go back to L's memories, and we see that the other subjects that were involved in attacking L, with subject 2, we see that they're pissed off that Dr. Martin had disciplined subject 2 like that, and so that they're mad at L, and they're looking at her all crazy. And then we see the other doctor uh, that we don't know his name yet. um, he tells L of what Papa's plan is for her, and he basically tells her that Papa is going to try to control you, and also Papa is going to let those other subjects come into this room later on, and he's going to let them kill you. So, be careful. um, and then we see Eddie and the crew again, and they're able to actually get into contact with Dustin and the crew. So now we know there's a way of communicating from both dimensions, which is pretty cool. So Dustin and the crew tell Nancy and the crew that everybody, every murder scene that was uh, where someone had died by Vecna has an opening to the upside down, and vice versa. Upside down to the real world to the upside down. So, Dustin and the crew, and then Steve and the crew end up leaving to go to the spot where Chrissy had died, so that way they can, match up the doors and then open them, and then I'm saying they can, um, Steve, Eddie, Robin, and Nancy can come back to the real world. And then we see that Vecna actually gets alerted by one of the bats because they see Steve and the crew are in this dimension. So now he knows that they're in his dimension. Then we go back to Elle again in her dream world, and we see the unknown doctor helps Elle to escape the facility, but instead of escaping, she ends up trying to help him. There's like this device in his neck to where, he says, "Hey, you escape. I won't go with you to escape, because if I do, there's a tracker inside me, so they'll find out where I am, and if they find out where I am, they're gonna find out where you are." So she says, "I'll help him. I'll help you out, and I'll remove the thing, and then we can go together." And then from there we get Jim and Antonov and all the other men, and they're about to fight the Demigorgon. Murray as Yuri and Joyce are standing right next to the Russian general. So Murray ends up pulling out a gun on the Russian general, telling him to stop this, release of the Demigorgon, because they don't want Jim to die. But he tells them, you're gonna have to kill me, because Jim is gonna already be dead because the Demigorgon is released. So after the whole fight breaks out with the Demigorgon and all the men, we see that Antonov and Jim are the only survivors from the attack. And then Jim and Antonov are able to actually leave that area and close the doors on the Demigorgon due to Joyce and Murray going to the control room and knocking everybody out and then pressing all the buttons to figure out what is what. So now Jim and Antonov are safe from the Demigorgon. They're inside the facility now, back inside the facility now. So, and then Joyce and Murray, they kind of have taken control of certain areas of the place. So everything seems to be good for them right now. Then we go back to the Upside Down, and Steve and the crew go to the opening, and they see Dustin and the crew. So we now know, like, everything's working out. You know what I'm saying? And then we go back to Elle's memory, and like I said, Elle ends up taking out the tracking device in the doctor's neck, and then Elle and the doctor actually get caught by like the security task force that is at that facility. And then we see that the doctor actually uses powers. So the chip that he had in his neck must have been keeping him from doing so. And then we also find out that the doctor is actually one. Crazy, right? And then we go back to Steve and the crew and Dustin and the crew. And Robin is the first one to actually go from the Upside Down back to the real world. Everything's cool. Ed follows after her. Everything is cool. And then Nancy and Steve are still, in the Upside Down. So Nancy tries to go up there, but then she actually gets attacked by Vecna. Vecna actually, puts her in one of those little dream worlds or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And he starts messing with Nancy. So, now she's stuck down there until she can wake up. And then, of course, Steve is not going to leave her, so he's going to stay down there until he gets her back, and then they can both leave together. So in this vision that she has, she ends up seeing Barb, the dead version of Barb, and then she ends up seeing Vecna, and Vecna's trying to, bring her hopes down and just talk all this crap. And then we go back to Elle, and she's in this room waiting for Subject 1 to come back, and then they can both leave the facility. But as she's in there, she hears the alarms go off, and then she's hearing people like screaming and stuff like that. So she actually runs out of the room that she was hiding in. And then we find out that the people that actually killed all the subjects and all the workers in that facility, it wasn't Elle. It was actually Subject 1. He killed them all. And then we go back with Nancy and the Upside Down, and Nancy sees memories that Vecna shows her. And from that, we learn that the unknown doctor is actually Subject 1, and Subject 1 is actually Victor's son, bro. Like, whoa. So one explains a lot to Elle about, how he came to be and, what he wants to do. And he wants Elle to join him, but she doesn't want to do it. So they end up having this battle. She's losing for a second, but then she grabs onto a stronger memory. Instead of like remembering something that was sad and made her angry, she remembers something that was like love and hopeful. And because of that, she becomes stronger, and she's able to actually beat Henry, because his name is Henry. Now we know it's Henry because that's Victor's son. Henry, Vecna, unknown doctor, you know what I'm saying, Subject 1, whatever you want to say, you know what I'm saying? So she beats him, and when she defeats him, she actually puts him in the Upside Down dimension. And from there, we see that that's how Henry becomes Vecna. So, yeah, man, a lot of stuff to unpack with this episode, bro. Definitely a great episode. But we ain't done yet, you know what I'm saying? We still got 2 more episodes coming in July. But that's basically the premise of this episode. 3 of my favorite scenes would be the Demogorgon fighting against all the men and then fighting against Antonov and Jim, bro. That was a crazy scene. Like, the Demogorgon don't play, bro. I forgot how, how vicious they can be, bro. I was reminded for sure. Like, those, no, you don't want to mess with that, bro. So that would be my first favorite scene. Second favorite scene would be seeing Subject 1 using his powers. Just like, yo, like, he has powers, bro. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very crazy. And a dope scene as well. And then my third favorite scene would be Subject 1 versus L, bro. That was a crazy situation. And just to have everything revealed the way that it was, man. And, finding out that that's how he became Vecna. Like, it just was a crazy situation, bro. So that would be 3 of my favorite scenes. For the grade for this, it's going to get a 10 out of 10 for sure, bro. If you saw this episode, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below. What is your favorite episode? What was your favorite episode? Are you dying to see or volume 2 of season 4 like I am? Let me know about it, man. Let me know about it in the comments down below. But please remember to like, subscribe, and share. As always, this is Q's Insight. I am Callie. Till next time.